So here we are at 10 to 7, Saturday morning, leaving Bahia Santa Maria to head around to the entrance for Bahia Magdalena, and it's just coming up to dawn soon. You can see the road where the sun will be coming up in a bit. Still some time to go. So we're in the dawn tree light at the moment, and it'll take us a time to get round to Bahia Magdalena. The distance is about 20 miles to where I want to stop, so it'll take a time. So here's where we're headed to. Bahia Magdalena is in that direction, and again has certainly has a lot of sand dunes around. Bahia Santa Maria has sand dunes, but the bay is so big that they're in the far distance. In fact, where it butts onto Bahia Magdalena, so we didn't see any sand dunes yesterday. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for whales on our way, but in the meantime it's definitely the right time to get my coffee on. It's yeah, it feels definitely a coffee time. It's early enough for the moon still to be bright. So the depth is about 85 feet. We're making just over 6 knots under motor. I'm just pushing to get to Magdalena, and then I'll add into the main tank. We've got 65 litres, it's still in there, which is plenty for getting the 20 miles, and then I'll top up with the jerry cans. The wind speed is just 6 knots from astern, and that puts it at north-northwest direction. So that's the situation at the moment. It's a fairly calm day, a little bit of swell, but not very much. And I just grabbed my camera in great excitement because I suddenly realised there was a whale spouting off right close to the boat here, but the whale's dived now. I just didn't look out and realise in time. There'll be more. And there it spouted again over that way. Probably the same one. I get the impression that dawn is going to be a bit of a non-event with all that cloud in the way. Coffee time. Get my coffee on, and then I'll keep looking for whales. So here we are heading towards Bahia Magdalena. It's just 10 past 7, just after dawn, and total cloud on the horizon low down there, so we didn't actually see the sunrise, but clearly it's happened, so quite pleasant. Just about to have my coffee now, should have come through. You can see the boat just coming south out of Bahia Santa Maria, and right next door is Bahia Magdalena, but I have to go all the way down south and then back up to get in there. Here we are at 7:30, got my coffee. The entrance is along that way. The sun is just about now to get above the cloud that hit it at dawn. As the sun got out above the cloud, it hit the hillside beautifully that we just passed by. Well, I've seen no more whales since that first one this morning that got me so excited. I mean, that is the problem actually, that I might not see any, because they're really active first thing in the morning around dawn. When I was here quite a few years ago, coming out of the bay around dawn, when I was surrounded by whales, as I say, that was around dawn. This is when they were just getting moving. So by now they could well have come out and spread around to go to their feeding grounds. Pretty dramatic scenery. They're just so barren as well. They're completely brown. There's no sign of any greenery on them. Quite amazing. We're in 100 feet of water here, no problem with depth. So we're relatively close to the hills, but of course they're so steep-sided that there's no problem with depth at all. Still no sign of any whales. I keep looking. Interesting, quite a cave in there. And around there is the entrance to the bay. Pretty dramatic. Well, that's a pretty dramatic bit of rock sticking out from the rest of them. We're in 60 feet of water. Wow, that's quite amazing. Very red rock, this one. There is a note on the chart about colorado at some point, which means coloured, so maybe this is partly what was being referred to. Certainly a lot redder, more red than the rest of the rocks around. A bit of a patch of red up there. isolated outcrop. Very high, very good protection for the bay inside. So here we are at the very entrance to the bay, and we just passed by a little bit further before we head north into the bay itself and then northwest. There's the far side of the entrance to the Magdalena Bay, Bahia Magdalena, and it's a little bit misty, a bit hazy. Here we are just having come round inside the bay itself, so there's the entrance again. And then I've got a few jobs to do at the other side of the entrance to the bay. A big entrance, wide open. Ah, here we have a whale. Lovely. Just dive down. Well, that's great. That was really close. Know how long it's going to be before they come up again. There we have another, either the same one. Yeah, just going down. That must have been two different ones. They're in slightly a different position. One quite close now, right here. About 90 feet of water, so relatively shallow, and they feed of course in relatively shallow water. Nice to see that they are around. Beginning to worry that I wasn't going to see any. taking their time, not in a rush to get anywhere. We've got a fishing boat over here. It was only later that I realised that several of those boats must have been tourist boats. They'd been brought down from San Carlos to see the whales that morning. One of them later came over for a chat to Nereida at anchor. Having seen how barren the mountains are, the land is, it's not surprising that their main food supply is the fish. Fishermen in a rowboat there. Fishermen around actually. We're crossing these ones past. There's that lot over there. Got whales spouting over there. Diving down. In retrospect, looking at the videos I took, quite clearly a lot of these boats, no wonder it was so busy. This was their morning event, bringing tourists down to see the whales. Not long enough in any direction you're going to see whales, or a whale at least. Pretty good, pretty special. There were so many whales around and it was really difficult to get them on camera, so I just thought I'd add in a few more stills of the shots of the different whales in different directions. Absolutely, what a marvellous thing. I was so glad that I'd come in the morning when I did, and certainly it was well worth the trip to get in here to see them. They're normally around in the entrance around the early morning, so this was really lovely. We see the fishing village that most of those fishing boats will have come from. It's quite large, but I won't be anchoring off there. I'll be anchoring a bit further away where it's quieter, out of the way. It's just gone 10:30 and we're coming towards our anchorage. We're in just over 20 feet of water, and across the sand dunes there is Bahia Santa Maria, where we spent last night. So we come right over in that direction to get to the anchorage in a very secluded, very secure spot. Here we are, waiting for us just to drift downwind, and then we can set the anchor. In fact, it's doing quite well now. Just drifting a little bit. We'll wait for it to settle, and then I'll back up on the anchor and set it. But very pleasant. And definitely a little bit hazy. Very definitely hazy. Got a fisherman heading our way by the looks of things. And that way is the channel leading up to the town of San Carlos, which is up in the shallows, up further up. A typical panga, the little boats used by the fishermen in Mexico. Backing up a bit now, just to set the anchor. And I use the wheel and a point on shore to give myself a bearing to make sure we don't move anywhere. Well, it's looking pretty good. We're not moving anywhere, so we're not going to be here for long anyway, actually, to be honest. So that should be fine. Stop the engine and let's go and get that fueling done. It is wonderfully peaceful here. The only thing that disturbs the peace and quiet is the fishermen going up to San Carlos town. Otherwise, it is quiet. A little bit of wind, 10 knots of northwest wind, but otherwise nothing happening. Fantastic. Very hazy still. And we're in just 15 feet of water, 5 meters, just under 5 meters. Beautiful. When I finished topping up the fuel tank with, what was it, 3 10s, a 15 and a 20, what's that, 65 litres. So I've now got plenty of fuel for the rest of the journey. There was already 65 litres, or 75 I think it was, in there. And now I've just changed over the 2 rams. I've got these 2, one from starboard direction and one from the port direction. 2 rams acting on the steering quadrant here. And I'm hoping that, I'm testing out the theory that maybe by switching over, the autopilot problems that I've been having will stop, in which case that will narrow down tremendously the cause of the problem. So I'm just going to check that the wheel is still steered okay, that the unit's working okay, being driven by the port side ram, and then we'll be all set to go. So I am about to test out that the autopilot is working okay, or hopefully. So we'll go on to autopilot and we'll try to steer and see whether anything happens. It turned out that I'd forgotten to change over the electrics so that the power came into the new ram. Once that was done, everything was fine. It took ages accessing the area below the bunk. Always a problem on a boat. Overcast, cloudy, and there's actually quite a wind, a little bit of wind. So hopefully when I get going later, I'll be able to get under sail. Very, very hazy still. Seems to have increased over the day, if anything. I've had a little bit of food, I'm having a little bit more, and I really fancied a fried egg, so I'm having that. and I did have some other bit earlier. And then I'm going to get some sleep, because so long as I leave before midnight, it will be fine for making my my arrival Tuesday morning. So my thinking is, okay, get some sleep, a few hours of sleep, because I might not get an awful lot overnight tonight later. So that's my plan. Have a little bit of food and get to sleep. Okay, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and yours truly here is going to get down to some sleep, at least 2.5 hours, 4:30, no, actually 3.5 hours, which will take me through to the PAC net. I'll check in with them and give my position and weather conditions. And then the idea is to leave well before midnight. And I've just checked out the lines for the sail. I hopefully put the mainsail up. Just check that everything's running okay there. So in the dark I won't have any complications. I will have the headlamp obviously, but it's always nice to check things through before. And yeah, and I've got a meal actually. So when I get up, I'll have a quick meal. I've got that all ready to go, and then get underway. So that's the plan for the moment. So if you're enjoying the videos, I hope you've subscribed. Hit the subscribe button, and then you'll know exactly when I posted the next one. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and enjoy your day. Bye. Just had some fishermen come by in the Panga, offering me some camarones for $20. Some camarones for $20. And I could not remember the word for fridge. I was trying to explain that my fridge was not working properly, which is not completely true, but it is a bit warmer than it should be, for sure. And so I didn't want to take any from them, but they could not understand the word frigadore I was using for fridge, but it's totally wrong. Anyway, that was they were very kindly, very friendly, no problem. Okay, so no camarones tonight. So that was 2 hours sleep, and now I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more. Well, I just made my 8 o'clock check-in with the Pacific Seafarers Net on the radio. Gave my position, which I always do. I mean, all the way around the world, 4 times every day. I would give my position to them, and the weather, and any other comments. So always good to do. And now I decided, in fact, rather than getting back to bed to my bunk for a couple more hours, I would cook my meal and get on with that. So I'm just about to have my steak and onions, and a lot of broccoli there, waiting, just turn that off. And we're just going to have the steak and onion for tonight. And then I'll get going. I'll get the main up and get everything, get underway basically towards Cabo San Lucas. Okay, so that's my meal for tonight, and then it's out. Quite a few lights around. There's the channel leading up to food up. Main course, steak and onions and broccoli, and a lovely dessert of berries and yogurt. Looking forward to that.